Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Copilot Learning Hub. All right, so big topic, Copilot adoption, right? All of you have said it's one of the biggest challenges in your organization. We actually dealt with the same challenge here at Microsoft. How do you get people to use this fantastic new tool to do the same kind of jobs they've been doing in the past? Because there's change management, disruption, et cetera. We went through this when email was invented, right? We went through this when everything was invented. But we have to bring you an expert today, Sharon Weaver, to talk about product adoption in general, because Sharon has been disrupting your businesses for decades at this point, teaching people how to use Office, M365, whatever we call it nowadays, and just Office apps in general. And with the arrival of Copilot, like an alien from space, it's caused like a lot of chaos in businesses. But Sharon has a beautiful formula and a whole bunch of methods and some fabulous stories to share with all of you today. Sharon, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Of course. So will you please share with the audience who you are, what you do, a little bit about your business?
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Sharon Weaver, and I am the CEO of Smarter Consulting. It's a business and technology services company where we help people basically make technology serve them instead of the other way around. And I've always been a big fan of, like you said, innovation and basically what's the newest thing and how can we get you super successful using what you have. I also am really passionate about the community. And so I'm involved with quite a few places. I help with the Women in Teams group. I run the Kansas City M365 user group. I also run, I did SharePoint area Kansas City for many years, which is converted into a conference called CollabCon. And then I also started doing this thing called Community Days at Sea, which is essentially a community days on a cruise ship.
So I heard about Community Days at Sea, and I'm like, listen, that is, first of all, genius, because captive audience, a second of all, genius, because everyone wants to go. So just letting you know, other people, if you want to organize conferences on a boat, you invite me, okay? Just letting you know. Your friend here does not get seasick, invite me. Okay, but one of the things that I love about you and your business is that you make things real to people who are not necessarily developers. So I've watched you give these sessions that are so interesting about this is why the new version of Teams or M365 or Viva or whatever it is actually matters to you in how you do your job. And I think your ability to really put yourself into the shoes of all these different kinds of jobs that honestly I don't understand sometimes is really admirable. And it's really cool how you're able to speak to people where they're at, rather than trying to drag them along into some other place, in this technological future. So you don't make it scary or unapproachable or hard to start. You just say, you already have it. Here's how to use it to maximize the things you're already doing. So I think that's incredibly admirable and so cool about how you work.
Thanks. I love that.
All right. So tell us, M365 Copilot, right? Topic du jour. What are you saying? What are some of the tools that you're leaning on? What are some of the feedback you're getting? How are you kind of guiding people through this journey? Because this is a topic and a half.
Well, I think, a lot of it is starting with this idea that any new tool is different. And so you have to kind of go back to all of our classic change management schemas that we've used over the years. And I do want to do a little bit of a shout out before we kind of go down this path that Microsoft has done a fantastic job of creating this site out here called adoption.microsoft.com. And if you go to Copilot, they've got a Copilot success set, a Copilot success kit that has all the information you need to roll it out. So I just kind of wanted to walk through this and then tell people about why this matters and give my 2 cents on how to make it better. And so this is going to give you information you need to kind of roll this out within your organization. And there we go. And so it does things like explaining to you the user journey. And so I do want to talk just for 1 second, you talk about what I think kind of the secret sauce to rolling things out is. And I think at the end of the day, what I found is I was always really good at understanding tech and it was really easy for me, but that's not the case for most people. And so most people are like, why should I even use this? Why does doing this matter to me? And what I found is exactly this. It's this aha moment of what is it doing to solve a pain point for them? And how is it making their days easier, their lives easier, their jobs easier? And so what we're really trying to get to with anything in change management technology, but specifically now in Copilot is why do I even care? What does it do for me? What's in it for me, right? And so that aha moment, I think, is the most important piece of all of this.
I love this. One of the things that you've said so many times, and I've heard you say this at so many conferences, is if you're not opening with how does it benefit these other people's lives more, help them do their job better, you should just go home and figure that out. First, you should spend a lot of time talking to them to really understand what are the pain points even before you go try to solve pain points that are imaginary. So I think just starting with what is in it for your human and leading with that, rather than trying to make up problems and trying to convince people that is just a genius way of going about it.
Yeah, nobody wants technology for the sake of technology because nobody wants more work for the sake of more work. They only want something that's going to make their lives easier, faster, better. So start with that in mind.
Right.
And then what Microsoft is really good out here is it really breaks it down. So if you're trying to do this deployment, I think what happens is a lot of people don't know, you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
So unless you have a crazy formal change management plan and you already know everything about everything, which most people don't, this is great because you can go out here and it will give you tips and tricks like how to get ready for both user enablement and technical readiness. There's tons of links that are available out here for people to go through things by phase. It will literally give you build out plans for finance and logistics. So you don't even have to start with nothing. It gives you something to start with so that you can go out here and then you can make this your own. It gives you examples. So here's an email journey. And then there's some examples of the emails that you can send out to people.
So I love that you called out the social media journey because that's something I've not seen every single person, every team lean into, right? Everyone leans into the email journey. Like, hey, here's like the email campaign, week 1, week 2, week 3. And I've seen it done also, but we get so much email. It's just so much. But the social media journey I found very interesting even at Microsoft itself because someone from the finance team, their Copilot driver will post into Viva Engage. None of my business, why am I involved? But I see they post it and say, hey, finance people, go try this fun prompt this week and let us know what you think. And everyone engages and says, here's my result. And I'm like, what is this prompt? It has nothing to do with me. It's some projections and some spreadsheet. But I'm immediately interested because it seems very valuable to a bunch of people. And it really does drive like a lot of conversation because it's this feeling of, hey, other people are finding value in this. So maybe I should have a look because if these people who are kind of like me, doing jobs kind of like mine are finding value, maybe I will find value as well. So the virally nature of these social media campaigns, I thought it was goofy at first, but it actually does work, which is cool.
Yeah, I think just having that kind of all-encompassing communication that you, to exactly your point, right? There's what do I need to know? But there's also, hey, I'm not alone. I'm not isolated on this. Other people are learning. Other people are scared. Other people are nervous. Other people are new to this as well. And so there's kind of like this beginner point for all of us. So it gives us this kind of shared feeling of all learning it together.
Yeah, shared terror. I love it. Go on.
Shared terror. So there's a few other things out here. This is just a few links that I wanted to share with people is that once you do go out there, there's these skilling experiences. So there's this thing called Copilot Academy, which will teach you all kinds of fun skills. Obviously, Microsoft Learn is always a great resource for things. And then we've also got Copilot Lab, which is a fantastic place to get like places to start prompting. And once again, it's back to that I don't know what I know thing. And how is this going to help me? And what am I going to get out of it straight away? And I think going to things like this, especially the Copilot Lab site, will be like, hey, have you ever considered summarizing your email? Or have you ever considered creating a PowerPoint from scratch? Or maybe you want to go find out about this topic. And what's really great is I don't need to know what those prompts are to start using the tool right away. I can go out here and I can copy them. I can bookmark them. I can see where other people have done things and I can learn from that. And I can feel like, okay, maybe I'm not as stupid as I thought. And maybe I can actually learn something and maybe I can get benefit out of this. And then the cool thing is now once I've done it a couple of times, now I can take that and I can apply that in my own way at my own speed.
I love that. I think Copilot Lab is such an interesting asset because lab signifies in progress. I am learning. This is not, hey, you should have already known this. Hey, there's a lab because no one knows this. And go take these prompts, make them your own, and now you can labify your own tenant or your own business and set up something similar because, like we know every tenant, every business is a little bit different. So I just like that word, like Copilot Lab, where get in there, do mad scientist-y things and see what works specifically for your business, your industry, but also yourself. Because certain prompts work better for different kinds of people.
Yeah, exactly. So here's my cliff notes for Copilot Readiness and Adoption now that I've given you all the Microsoft resources.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, what I have found success in is for any time I implement anything, and this works for Copilot as well, is that, like you said, what is our current state? Where can we bring value? And in the Copilot world, I would say the three primary things that you really want to look towards are your information architecture and content governance. Like, where does it stand now? What does your data organization availability look like? And then do you have any custom scenarios or business needs that you think that Copilot would bring value to? And then essentially, like we talked about, then put change management and training around all of that. Maybe create some pilot programs where people can play with it and share with their friends of how cool it is and what value they're getting so that other people know what to do. Make sure you have tons of communication and feedback for everything. And then mostly what the executives want to see is, where did my dollars go? So you really want to set some goals around what you're trying to accomplish and what that money is paying for, so that then you can show them, here's what it's actually doing. Here's where you can see that measurement. Here's where you can see, improved productivity, efficiency, and engagement. And so they feel like, okay, I'm spending these dollars and getting something back out of it. I'll spend more dollars so that more people can get it too.
I love that. So exec buy-in, let's talk about this because you spend a lot of time cajoling executives to do things. How are you cajoling executives who are notorious for offloading technical work to someone else, right? Like when we were doing the Windows Insider program, executives were like, you are not getting a fast string build because you're going to be annoying. But with Copilot and AI, all these studies show that organizations where the executives are bought in and are actually doing hands-on work do much better because they make it part of the rhythm of business. So how are you cajoling, influencing, all the good words, getting executives to get hands-on, not just like beat the drum of go do AI?
I think it's definitely getting them hands-on. And so a lot of times, in our own, like outside of the meetings, a lot of times I'll pop on a call with them and I'll be like, let me show you some of this cool stuff. And they're like, okay, convince me that this is the wave of the future. And you know what I think is like the coolest one is I build PowerPoints all day, every day. Like this is what I have to do. And when I show them Copilot in PowerPoint or Copilot in Word, where I walk in and I'm like, create me a presentation about this topic, and it just goes out and builds it. Or I say, create me a Word document. I write so many estimates and contracts and SOWs. And I mean, just all day long, there's something that I'm writing, and where this would have taken a long time before, if I can say, do you already have a template for that? And they're like, yes. And I'm like, okay, you can go into Copilot and say, point to this template and then create me a new one, but here's the information I want in it. And it just builds it like that. And they just sit there and their eyes are like this big. And so I'm like, you don't have to give this to anybody. You can just do it for yourself for a little while. And they'll play with it. And they all of a sudden realize how cool it is and how fast it is. And they're like, what if my employees started using this? If my employees started doing this, maybe it'd be faster and it'd be better and it'd be great. And then the more excited they get about it, the more that excitement then goes out. And so I think a lot of it is 100% that. It's just same thing. Finding their pain points, showing them the value, getting them excited about it. And I would say 9 times out of 10, once you do that personally, they're like, yeah, give me all the Copilot. How much Copilot can I get?
All the Copilot. I'm like, good news. I have 100 and something for you if you want that many Copilot, all of them. But I love that. I love that you do this one-on-one thing where, hey, let me get on a phone call with you and show you something relevant to your kind of job. Rather than trying to do it as a part of like the bigger thing where executives are like, that's nice, my team's learning it, I don't need to pay attention as closely right now, versus Sharon's looking at me in the eye and giving me a threatening look, I should be paying attention. Yeah.
One of the things that I think is that people are afraid of executives. They're afraid to talk to them. They're afraid to ask them things. They're afraid to push back on them because at the end of the day, the executives have the ability to not spend money or let somebody go. And I think it's really important to push past that a little bit and meet with them and meet with them, find where they're at, answer their questions, make them feel comfortable and face that fear. Because I think when you help them to feel excited about the tools that they're using, they share that excitement back out with the organization. And at the end of the day, I want to work with people who are excited about technology because that's my job. My job is to bring all of that excitement to their users. And if the leaders are excited, then the people are going to be excited as well.
That is very true, because when a leader cares about something, the people working with them are realizing like, actually, this seems important. I should pay attention. Oh, Sharon, you are definitely excited about technology, and I am too. And this has been such a joyful and fun conversation. I can't wait to see you out there in the world doing the thing, doing what you're excellent at. And till next time, everyone, come back for our next episode of Copilot Learning Hub. Thank you so much, Sharon.